Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney. And as you can tell, my voice is not all the way there, so please bear with us for these next two episodes.
I probably look fine, but I don't feel fine.
We're doing great. So, you have anything exciting to tell us about your week?
My car got fixed. My report cards went out. And I died.
Well, most of those are excellent updates. So, glad your car didn't kill you, though. That's good.
Yeah, no, I just emotionally and mentally died.
Well, that happens sometimes. Yeah, it's been another long week. It's been like 4 days since we've seen each other, I think, and it's already been a long week, but it's fine. But my aunt did send me some fun stuff this week, which was exciting. I called her when I got off work one night, and I was getting home, and I had this like box that I was like, I don't even know where this is from. This is so strange. And I got home, and it was like a box. If you're watching, it's like got my initial on it and a Minnie Mouse bow, and there's a pink one and a red one. And she sent me a Minnie Mouse mask that has a bow on it, and it's so cute. I was so excited. I love getting mail, even if I was slightly concerned because I know where it came from. But
I also love getting mail, but I never get mail except for from my insurance company.
Yeah, I get a lot of junk mail, which is great. But I also booked my flight home today, so I get to go home for the holidays. I'm excited.
It doesn't feel like the holidays.
It doesn't feel like real life.
There's that.
Yeah, but Kate is going to pick me up from Jackson Airport on the 22nd, and I'm going to stay with her and Jamie and baby Thomas for a couple of nights. And they're doing Christmas late, so I'm going to get to see her so much while I'm there. I'm so excited because I haven't seen her in 2 years now. And I haven't met baby Thomas in real life person yet.
Well, I haven't seen her in much longer than that.
But I used to see her every year, like 4 times a year.
I know, but I don't think I've seen her since her wedding.
That's probably true. I was about to say that's not true, but you've seen me since her wedding. You haven't seen her since her wedding.
Yeah.
Those are different things. That's so sad. You can fly down and do the holidays with my family.
I surely cannot. Fortunately, because I already can't figure out how I'm going to afford to fly to Houston for my
doing Houston birthday. For Christmas?
Yes. We're not going there for Christmas, but we are trying to go after Christmas for the baby's birthday.
Gotcha.
Her first birthday is December 30th.
Oh, that's so exciting. So you're going to do New Year's there then?
Yeah, but that's so expensive.
I feel you. I got lucky with my ticket. I mean, I could still go to London for cheaper, but it was only $600 for me to fly. I'm flying into Jackson, which is like an hour and a half out of my hometown, so somebody's going to get me.
In the future, my sister is now a travel agent, so she can carry cheaper flights.
Oh my gosh, if I would have known that like 2 hours ago, I would have called her. Is it the one I met on camera?
Yeah.
We're basically best friends now. She could have totally helped me.
I know. She's trying to save me like $300 on my flight to Houston. So.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm gonna give her a call next go around.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird because we're both working so much that we're just tired. And even though like this episode is going to come out like the weekend before Christmas, there's really Nothing very holiday-y or exciting about either of our lives right now.
I watched a few holiday movies, but no new ones since we've talked.
I watched the Great British Baking Show's holiday special.
Yeah, I want to watch that. I bet Rachel's fiance Nick really likes Great British Bake Off too. I bet he watched it.
Probably. I didn't think I would like it, but one time I was on an airplane and there was nothing else to watch, and then I got really invested in it.
I watched the first like 2 seasons and I like binged them very quickly during quarantine. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a break from this and watch like real shows, TV with storylines and stuff. But
Honestly,
I got really into reality TV for a while there.
I still really only watch reality TV.
Yeah, I had to take a break from that for a second.
Yeah,
Get into my detective shows.
I watch YouTube videos, reality TV, and Grey's Anatomy. That's it.
Yeah, I just watch my nighttime show and my podcasts. And that's it. Yeah.
We also watch Dead Like Me.
Sure enough.
And we do it for you.
And for us. I would still watch Dead Like Me.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have watched it today, though.
I don't know if I would have watched it today.
Not that the episodes were bad. I just didn't want to do anything.
I probably would have napped instead of watching them today, to be fair. But
we are on season 1, episode 13. It is called Vacation, which was not a very creative name, but an accurate one. It was rated 8 stars. It came out on September 19th, 2003. The top song in the country was unfortunately still Shake Your Tail Feather by Nelly.
I'm sorry, did you say September 19th, 2003?
Yeah.
Okay, my episode didn't come out till like a month later. They must have taken a hiatus. I'm so sorry for interrupting you.
Really?
I might check that before our next episode and see what happened on our break. Anyways, that caught me off guard. Apologies. We're still on Shake Your Tail Feather. Got it.
Yeah, we're still on. Oh, yeah, no, it did not come out for a month later. I don't know why. But the top movie at the time was Underworld.
Another that's like a horror style show, yeah.
Yeah,
that's the one with like werewolves and
it's the Kate Beckinsale werewolf vampire thing.
Gotcha. So we are still in our horror genre of movies that they have every week.
And it is fall. The top movies in the fall do tend to be.
But it started in July.
Yeah, but the top horror movie didn't. The top movie didn't become a horror movie till mid-August.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that far back. I believe you.
And then I always occasionally look to see if any big world events or cultural events happened that day. And usually the reason we haven't talked about it so far is because they haven't. Apparently 2003 was not a very exciting year.
It wasn't.
But September 19th, 2003, Hurricane Isabel did hit Washington, D.C. and mess the city up pretty bad.
I don't know if exciting is the word I would use for that. Inciting. Incidents.
Exciting, not in the sense of causing like joy, but of causing an uproar. To be excited is just to be.
I guess that's true.
It has the connotation of good thing, but it doesn't always actually mean. Just like amazing. Amazing doesn't always mean a good thing. It means something that caused you to be amazed.
Right.
There. But also, 2003, we say it wasn't a very exciting year. But then I realized that in my news story about a hurricane, in Hurricane Land it was.
Yes.
For those of you who are not old enough to know, 2003 is in fact when Hurricane Katrina hit. But based on the fact that Hurricane Isabel starts with an I, Katrina has not hit yet.
Katrina was 2005.
It was 2005? I thought it was 2003.
I thought it was
I mean,
2005.
you lived there, so I believe you.
Look, I am not good with years, but I thought it was 2005. I very much could be wrong. It was 2005.
Oh, no,
I was right for once about a year.
You were.
Yeah. That's why I comes first.
Well, yes, but no, but they start over at A at the beginning of every year.
I know.
Oh,
It's just insane. We have so many hurricanes. But
well,
yeah.
Speaking of insane weather events, I don't know what's going on in this country right now.
Same.
But yesterday in Western New York, there were 70-mile-per-hour winds. The winds were so bad that, preface the story. Earlier this week, a 60-something-year-old woman drove her car into Niagara Falls, like into the river.
Just straight into it?
Yeah.
Potentially. Like on purpose?
That's the thing. We're not sure. Potentially on purpose. Potentially not. It was the day that the roads were really, really snowy and really bad. My dad's construction company built all the guardrails and stuff in the area where she fell. We can't figure out where this car supposedly went into the water. But it was a big deal, national news, Coast Guard helicopter rescue. She died. Yeah. The car, this was on Tuesday, I believe. Or no, it must have been Wednesday because I didn't know about it. It must have been Wednesday because I didn't know about it last time I talked to you.
Right.
So as of after the Coast Guard rescue on Wednesday, the car was still at the top of the falls. It was still in the water above the falls. And people were trying to figure out if it was going to go over or not. But the water in that particular part of the rapids, it's really, really cold, really rocky, really dangerous, but really shallow. So the car itself isn't going to ever be submerged. So it wasn't going to go over the falls. Yesterday, the wind was so intense that it pushed the car over the falls.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
It was
one of the awnings that I work at the theater that I work at, not the big marquee, but the awning on the smaller theater fell off because of the wind and smashed into the window.
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty crazy. But the thing is, it wasn't even the worst place to be in the country yesterday because there was a tornado in Tennessee that went over
in December?
That went over 250 miles.
What?
On land.
Are there locusts? Are we at the end of times?
Right.
It was warm here yesterday. I walked home from work last
night.
The
thing. The winds were 70 miles per hour, but it was 60 degrees.
Yeah, exactly. I was I wore my big coat into work, which I took a cab into work, so I don't even know what it felt like when I left. But whenever I came back, I walked home, and it was what time did I get off? It was 11 o'clock at night. And so in December, I should have been freezing, and I was carrying my coat because it was too warm to wear it. I was this is insane.
Sorry, I'm just checking the tornado that hit yesterday went through 6 different states.
Oh my gosh. Texas, Oklahoma, what other states? I mean, not Texas, Tennessee, Oklahoma.
Tennessee, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kentucky. What is this CNN?
Ohio?
No. Oh, no. It wasn't even in Oklahoma. It wasn't even in a place that you would expect a tornado. Arkansas, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, Mississippi, and Tennessee.
What?
It was moving this up and down.
Oh my gosh.
80 people are feared to be dead, including at least 70 in Kentucky.
Oh my gosh. I am normally not this clueless people about the world events. I worked 13 hours yesterday and did not see the outside. So I had no idea any of this happened. This is insane.
Honestly, somebody at work mentioned it to me yesterday, and I didn't realize, and I said it was really bad, but I didn't realize how bad it was until my friend who works at the University of Tennessee marked himself safe on Facebook, and I was like, that's not a place where there's supposed to be tornadoes.
Right. That happened with when we had that big storm come through the city earlier this year with the flooding and everything. I marked myself safe because everyone I know doesn't live here. And my mom called me and she was like, oh, we thought it was funny. You marked yourself safe. And we realized it was really bad and it could have been bad where you were. You just happened to be in a good spot. I was like, thanks, Mom. I was not just being dramatic.
Yeah.
I was actually safe while other people were not.
Yeah. So weather, that's a thing that happened.
Welcome to the Weather Channel podcast. We didn't say that. I'm not affiliated with the Weather Channel. Please don't sue me.
This episode blurb says, the Gravelings have the day off, so the reaping is replaced with paperwork for Rube and the Reapers. George convinces Rube to computerize the data at happy time. George's family takes their first vacation since George's death.
Thrilling.
It was directed by David Grossman, who has already directed for us, and it was written by Peter Oko with excerpts from Harry Victor and Dan Fudsman, all regular writers.
The Dream Team. That's the two I keep calling the Dream Team.
Yes, they're all regulars there. There are no guest stars in this episode because there were literally no one that we've never seen before in the episode before. Like, I went to the thing and I was like looking, and there's only like 12 people credited total. There aren't even like extras in this episode. Right. So we start with Reggie packing for vacation, and George is doing some monologue about family vacation and how she pretended to hate it in high school, but she really didn't. I was never cool enough to pretend to hate family vacations.
I was a weird spot in high school because like I did sports, but I also did band. So I was friends with like the band kids. And then I was also friends, like my best friend Austin was like the star track guy. So like I was like, I didn't really hang out with the cool kids. I don't really care for them that much, but they were like friendly with me and we had like classes together. And then like Austin being my BFF, I do care for him. I like him still. He's not one of the ones I don't care for. And so it was just a weird place. Like I just kind of got along with everybody, but I also was just like, I love family vacation. We just went to the beach every year. I was like, I love the beach.
No, but like my siblings and my cousins to this day are still my best friends. There was never a point in my life where I would have been like, oh, hanging out with my family, gross. Like,
I feel like that's not like as much of a big deal as people pretend like it is in TV.
And TV, the teenage daughter is always like, I hate my family. I don't want you around. And I'm literally like, the fact that none of my siblings live with me is like, that's the weirdest thing. I'm home for Christmas and none of my siblings are. And that has never happened before. And I don't like it.
Yeah. That's why last year was so weird because I didn't get to go home for the holidays. And I was like, yeah, it's so strange.
But while George is monologuing, she also breaks into her old house again to get this box of memories from her family vacations, which I'm slightly confused as to why it was there. Mm-hmm. Because didn't they go through all of her stuff and get rid of it? And or Reggie kept it, but Reggie didn't seem to notice that this box was missing, so she didn't really care that much. I'm just confused.
I think that, like, I mean, we didn't see a lot of Reggie after this, like at home after this, so she might not have noticed it was gone yet.
No, but they saw her. They showed her walking through the closet, looking at the shelf after she took the fishing pole.
Yeah, maybe she just didn't notice because she had a lot of stuff.
I don't know. But so George is feeling envy. Oh, and she says that Rube always told her that haunting is just envy. And I truly believe that is a thing
I,
that really happens.
I also think that's true. I think people who haunt others are really petty people that just want to get revenge. I'm not saying I wouldn't do that though. So I'm not
No,
like
but
saying bad things about them.
I also don't necessarily think it's always revenge. Sometimes I think it's just like
Yeah.
pure envy. Because like I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before about the ghost in my house.
You have not, because I have not heard this story.
Oh, so I think there's a ghost in my house.
I will not be coming to stay with you in Buffalo. I do sincerely apologize.
Here's the thing. I know it's a girl. I've talked to her. She turns electronics on and off. That's it. She's never like, and one time I walked into my pantry, my Keurig was turned on. And I literally go, please, I understand that you didn't get to have electricity before you died. And this is very cool. I get it. Please stop turning my Keurig back on after I turn it off. It was never on again by itself, ever.
Oh, have you seen her?
No.
Okay. I might be okay then.
Yeah, I've never seen her. I just know she's here. But nobody else seems to believe me. Nobody else has, and I'm like, I guess that either they're skeptics or not sensitive to it or whatever, except for my cousin's friend, Robbie. Because one night we were playing this game where in our house, we had this game because my house is really big and kind of creepy. So we played this game called Find the Light, where we would turn off every light in the entire house, except for we would put a flashlight upside down. So there's just a ring of light. And you had to find it. So we're playing this game.
Psychopaths.
Yeah. But it's like part hide and seek, like, because if you get caught, then you can't find the light anymore. So like we're playing this game. And my cousin's best friend, Robbie, walks through my living room, and all of a sudden, we used to have this old-timey, like, bar dartboard, and all of a sudden, it just turned on and started playing a game by itself. And he was like, what is going on? He lost his shit. And I go, it's just a ghost. She just likes electronics. And he goes, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, no. So no. Robbie believes me that she's here.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe you. Not thrilled about it, but I do believe you.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like not even a malevolent envy. It's just like my family's obsessed with electronics and she never had electricity. And it's like, look at all the shit that I don't understand how it works.
Have you looked her up to see if you could like find if someone died where your house was?
There are potentially rumors that there may have been a grave site here.
You are very much encouraging me to come to your house. This is helping your case of me coming to Buffalo. Yeah, great. Loving it.
I don't know. The house itself was built in 1904, but there are like all these rumors about who owned the land before it was incorporated into the city or built houses or anything on it. So like one of the potential things that might have happened is there might have been like a family graveyard, not like a full cemetery. But like, I don't know.
Well, you know, I mean, that's all over the place though. You know, like Washington Square Park has bodies buried under it from a plague. Maybe the last one. I don't know which one.
Not this one.
Not this one. Probably. Can't be 100% sure, but probably not this one.
Yeah. So then we go back to the Waffle House. And we're having just the most ridiculous conversation for no reason about Daisy having had sex with a pilot while he was flying the plane, to which Rube gets upset because he misses the good old days of flying when people still dressed up and smoked cigarettes and like had whiskey in glass cups instead of plastic. And like, I'm just like picturing a scene from Mad Men.
I think they gave me wine in a glass cup one time when I was in first class. I am not first class. I got like spent like $30 to get upgraded, so it was fine. But I think they gave me a glass cup one time with wine in it.
I
It was
did not.
exciting.
The one time that I actually paid for and flew first class, I did not have any alcohol, but it's because I was flying a 36-hour overnight flight and I was so tired that I just was slapped the whole time.
It's a long time to sleep.
Yes, but I was in Delta One in the pod that turns into a bed.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so jealous. I've always wanted to be in one of those.
It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, then George is in a rush. She's trying to get out of there, and Rube is like, what's on fire? And Mason makes a joke and is like, my pants. And Daisy's like, that's called syphilis. And then George is like, Mason, help me steal a car. And he's like, you're gonna have to learn to steal your own cars.
Right.
And I was like,
So I have a question about this. I know I keep interrupting. We're saying a lot of things this episode. Can Reapers have STDs? Like they have physical bodies and they recover, but like there's some like terminal STDs, right? Like that just are there forever. So like if they get one of those, would they just have it forever?
I don't know. I mean, how could you get healed from like getting impaled with a Waffle House sign, but not from syphilis?
Because your like organs grow back together.
Yeah, but why wouldn't then this? I don't know. I don't think they can have STDs. I think that Daisy's just being a douche.
I mean, I think that's why she said it, but I was just wondering if there was.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so we get all kinds of nonsense. Then we go flash back to the last house where Joy and Clancy are already fighting like cats and dogs. And I was like, I would rather die than be on that family vacation.
Yes, accurate.
Then we go back to the Waffle House. I will say the one good thing about this episode, having so few people in it, is that we go back and forth a lot, but it's only to 2 locations.
Right. Yes.
So we go back to the Waffle House, and we find out that the Reapers have to do paperwork because the Gravelings have taken the day off. And there is just the image to me of this one table full of dead people that everyone can see, and this one table full of like weird death creatures that no one can see, like next to each other, and that's all that's happening in this restaurant. It's just bizarre.
It makes me think of that. It's a scene from a cartoon movie, maybe Space Jam, which I know is like half cartoon, half live action.
Yes,
but where it's like all these like gremlin type people, and they're like smoking cigars and playing poker. It's like this vague memory that came up from my head.
A scene from Space Jam.
That's what I was thinking of when I saw the Gravelings at the diner table.
Yep. So then back at the last house, Reggie gets the fishing pole, and the phone will not stop ringing. And every time Joy answers the phone, no one is there. But then Clancy answers the phone, and someone is there. And I was like, clearly, this person calling the house is Clancy's girlfriend, which is so sketch. But also, it made me think, how did people get away with having affairs before cell phones?
Just like this, they called landlines that had no caller ID, and they just wouldn't talk if it was the wrong person.
Well, like, don't you get sus? Like, that your phone's ringing 87 times?
Yeah, but what are you going to do about it? Well, they're not going to call 87 times in a row. If the wrong person's answered, they're going to wait before they call back.
Yeah, but that bitch didn't. She called 3 times in 3 minutes.
Well, she would have got called. She's one of the ones that would have got called. But, I mean, if they were smart about it, I do not recommend cheating. But if they were smart about it,
we're not
they
would. We're just trying to understand.
We're just coming up with better strategies. You just wait out like a couple hours, then call back. And you like have to set, that's why you have to like set times to call people.
Right. But that's why so many people had affairs with like their assistants and stuff, because it's people that could have been calling the house without arousing suspicion.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were just there.
That's true. Why work for it when it's right there?
Right.
So then we go back to the diner, and the paperwork that Rube has brought in is literally enough to fill the entire diner. And Rube and Tiffany is like, you are taking up my entire section with your paper. And he's like, we have to do the paperwork. And she goes, well, then the paperwork has to order. So he orders all this food, clearly for them, like for all the Reapers. And then he's like, and get a bunch of mimosas for my friends at table 6. And she's like, table 6 is empty. And then we just see a flash of what it looks like to the people who can't see the Reaper, or to the Gravelings. These little assholes.
I know.
Then
So the Gravelings, I feel like I don't understand them as much as I want to.
Okay.
Are they like just death personified essentially? Why do they have to? I have a lot of like why questions. Like, why do they have to kill people?
So basically, I think the theory is that death, like the human figure death, the big boss, is like the CEO of a company where he's there.
Right.
He doesn't really do anything. He has all his divisions. And the Reapers are the people who collect souls and care to get the afterlife started. The Gravelings are the ones who actually do the killing. But you can't be human and do that much killing. It eats away at your soul. So, like, in my opinion, Gravelings are just like the remnants of what is left of someone whose only purpose is to kill.
That would make sense, because I was like, they have like no control left, but I guess that makes sense that they wouldn't.
Like,
really.
Yeah, like think about like what it does to your soul to do things like that.
It's like Voldemort in the
King's Cross Station.
No. What are they? Well, yes, him there. I was trying to Horcruxes. I was trying to think of
but
what caused it.
The
being.
The Voldemort's appearance in when Harry died.
Right.
Was in
yes.
King's Cross Station. That's
spoiler alert.
If we have to give spoiler alerts for Harry Potter, I'm so sorry, but who are you?
Look, I have friends that just watched Harry Potter a few years back, but they have seen it now. And I yelled at them, don't worry. Because there's a new Harry Potter coming out on January 1st.
What?
It's like, I think it's kind of like the Friends reunion, but Harry Potter reunion. It's on HBO Max.
Oh, it's not a movie. It's just the people getting together and talking.
I think so. I haven't actually looked into it. Becca, who I work with, who follows our podcast.
Hello, Becca.
We're getting together on the 1st, and we're gonna watch it together.
That's so nice.
And sleep on the couch because we'll be working the night before.
It's fair. I got really confused. I opened my HBO Max to see if it was on the app. And then it was like, continue watching. And I was like, I've never watched any of those things, but I forgot that my brother and my dad are both signed into my HBO account.
Nice.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Magic. What? No, that's not what I'm looking at. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Harry Potter 20th anniversary, return to Hogwarts. The legendary cast returns to where the magic started to celebrate the anniversary of the beloved franchise's first film, premieres January 1st.
That's the one.
Yes, it's not actually a movie.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Sorry, that wasn't very interesting.
Where were we?
The rest of the world.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure there are some people who were like, yes, thank you so much for giving me details about this. So then
You're at the diner still.
Oh, I didn't have any more notes about them.
Oh, I loved Roxy in this scene. That's what I put. I put that I loved Roxy because she was being super sassy. And
I have a note about the last family before I get to Roxy being sassy. Another flashback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we go back and this is when they're getting ready. And she's asking about what they're gonna do. No, actually, I don't know what exactly was the prompt for this, but basically Reggie is trying to recreate what camp was like when George was still there.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the moment where she takes the fishing pole or not, but she's trying, and she's asking her parents about going fishing and all of these things and making a fire and whatever.
Yeah, it jumps back and forth so much, but the storylines don't intertwine really, so it's
No.
okay if we get them a little off.
Yeah. Then back to the Reaper gang, and they're trying to figure out what to do with the paperwork. And George is actually like really good at paperwork, and she's listing all of these things that you can do and cross-referencing and what way you're going to file things. And Ruben's just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And Roxy gets so angry. Well, first, Daisy says, are we going to alphabetize them by first name or last name? And George says, when has anyone ever alphabetized anything by first name?
I know. I was like, that's not how it goes. Why would you ever do that? Do you know people are named like Adam?
Okay, to be fair, I alphabetized where my students' Chromebooks go in the classroom by first name, because when I say it's in alphabetical order, the kids who are only 10 don't think about their last names. So like they know that Addie is on the side that's at the beginning of the alphabet, and Sophia is on the side that's at the end of the alphabet. Never in my life would I ever do anything else like that, but just what side of the Chromebook shelf they are on, I did it in alphabetical order by first name. So I was laughing at this because I was like, me, that's who has done that.
You got to teach them young.
I mean, yes, but like I feel like elementary school teachers do alphabetize things by first name. Maybe no one else in the world, but elementary school teachers do. But Roxy seems like she's about to defend Daisy for a second. And she's like, she didn't ask that question because she's stupid. Or she didn't ask it to be rude. She just asked it because she doesn't know how to shut the fuck up. Neither of you do. And I was like, okay.
I'm sorry, I can't laugh.
How Roxy feels.
Yeah. I love Roxy, but also I felt the same. Yeah. And I don't dislike Daisy anymore, and I still felt the same.
So then they are just, doing their paperwork, hating their lives, and we get a montage of all these people who probably should have died. But the Gravelings were not there. Like the guy who was smoking a cigarette and dropping a match toward his gasoline tank, or the woman who was sticking her fork in a toaster, and the kid
such stereotypical.
And the little kid running with scissors, and the other kid who locked himself in a refrigerator. And we get one of my favorite quotes ever on the show. Death is like sex in high school. If you don't realize how much you could be getting it, so you don't miss it.
That's probably true.
Then we have a flashback, an actual flashback to George at camp with her whole family, and Reggie is a baby, and George is like, can we roast marshmallows? And her dad's like, oh, it's so late and it's the first day, we have the whole week. And she's like, yeah, but Reggie really likes marshmallows. And he's like, Reggie cannot eat marshmallows. And she's like, okay, well, like Mom really likes marshmallows. And he's like, fine, go get the marshmallows. And it was cute, but it pissed me off because Clancy used to be a good dad. I don't know what the fuck.
I know. He did. At one time, he was a good dad. Reggie's getting screwed over.
Yeah. Then we go back to the Waffle House, where Mason and Daisy are working together to file some papers. And Mason still trying his darndest.
I just put Mason can't let it go.
He cannot let this go. And he's like, so Daisy, like, you have been with a lot of men. Like, have you ever been with any British men? And she starts listing some people that it is very improbable that she actually slept with. He's like, okay, so like, what about me? And my note says that Daisy's list of reasons why Mason is sad, or why she isn't into Mason, is sad because none of them would disqualify him from me. She says, you're poor, your hygiene is suspect, your clothes alone disqualify you. And I just go, well, so far, still not sure what the issue is here.
Hygiene is suspect would throw me off a bit, depending on what we're speaking of. Like, I'm not showering every day. Spoiler alert for anyone who doesn't know that I work 1,000 hours a day.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not showering every day. But if it's like never showering or never brushing your teeth or something, like that's not gonna cut it. But like if you're poor and I just don't like your clothes, like whatever.
First of all, my problem is I don't dislike his clothes. Like I think he looks grungy.
I also like his clothes.
But also, like for me, suspect or hygiene is suspect. Like to be completely honest, if you don't smell bad and you don't have like bacterial infection on your skin, I probably don't actually care that much. Like as long as you like wash your hands after you take a shit. Like I'm not the kind of person who, cause like, yeah, I also don't really shower every day. I don't have a washing machine at my house. So occasionally definitely worn that sweater before. Like I'm not very judgy.
Everyone does that. I think I do that. So I assume other people do that too.
If we are just describing how disgusting we are, I'm so sorry.
I do have a washing machine. I have to wash laundry tonight, but
yeah, no, like if you don't smell bad and you're not like genuinely grody, that is not really a deal breaker. Like if you have like a cat and your cat pees on your clothes and then you rewear them, yeah, that's a problem. No, there's something about cat pee that I can't, like if you don't know how to take care of a house that has animals in it, that is a level that I can't get down with. If you don't always wash your clothes every day before you wear them again, I'm not really mad about it as long as you don't smell.
See, and I don't know if that's like a hygiene thing, because hygiene is what keeps you like, you have good hygiene, you're healthy, like so it doesn't like keeps you from being sick from your hygiene.
Right, like then that's my thing.
So
is like but I don't think Daisy means it in the way of like being healthy. I think we saw what her bathroom routine at George's apartment.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So then Tiffany brings some coffee over to Roxy. And Tiffany just wants a friend.
She does.
Roxy clearly does not care.
Roxy does not care to have a friend right now.
No.
Yet.
Ugh. Roxy just hates people that talk. But it's not. Well, we'll find out that it's not because she doesn't want conversation.
Right.
She wants to be the one who's talking. But all of the people in her life talk so freaking much.
Yes.
So then we get back to the Lasses. They have just arrived at the cabin, and Clancy's phone rings. And Reggie is pissed that her dad brought his cell phone on their family vacation. Which, again, totally dates this show.
Right. Like, I get it, but also, like, it is for safety. I mean, his is not, but you should have a cell phone.
But he did. She was like, why did you bring it? He was like, in case anything happens to one of us.
But that's not why.
Fine. If he was being genuine, I would forgive it. but he's not.
Exactly. Mm.
So then we go back to the Waffle House where our Reaper gang is accosting Rube about how there's no way in shit that they can handwrite any of these things. And they say death may not have evolved, but communication has, and there's no reason why we can't type this. And Rube is like, fine, fuck all of you. I guess we'll go type these things. So they decide to go to Happy Time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go back to the beach or the cabin where Clancy is trying very desperately hard to ruin this vacation.
Yes.
And they're eating dinner, and Reggie's like, after dinner, we should play Monopoly. And he's like, I can't, I'm tired. And she's like, okay, but like you can't play Monopoly with only 2 people, which technically you can. I get that it's not as fun.
So, fun fact about me. Fun, that's a word. I own like 6 Monopolies because I love themed Monopolies. It is one of my favorite games. I know you also have themed Monopolies.
I was going to say 6 is a very small number of Monopolies.
Well, so it's funny because I used to get them at my parents' house. So I have like 4 at my parents' house. I have 1 at my apartment. I have 1 at Rachel's apartment. I have 1 at Caitlin's house. Like I have them spread out everywhere because I keep moving around.
Yeah, I don't know how many we have.
Yeah, I love it. I love a themed Monopoly game.
I mean, to be honest, fun facts about me and my family. We have an entire closet of our house, like not a small closet either, that is just entirely filled with board games.
Yeah, my family has like a chest thing that has board games, but they refuse to play board games with me. I just have to force them. I guilt them into it sometimes.
Oh no, I don't. There are very few things that are actually, no, just kidding. I was going to say I don't have very many deal breakers in relationships, but as I began a journey on a dating app, I realized I have a lot of deal breakers because I ask people out very quickly for very silly things. Apparently I much pickier than I thought. But number 1 on my list of deal breakers is if you don't want to play board games with me and my family, don't be part of my family.
Yes.
So, again, possible to play Monopoly with 2 people, but not as fun and kind of not the point.
Right.
And so, but Joy is really trying. She's like, it's okay. Like, I'll play with you. And she's like, Mom, it's fine. And then her mom's like, okay, well, we'll wake up early tomorrow and go fishing. And she's like, okay. Like, and Reggie's like genuinely okay with the suggestion. And I was like, oh.
Reggie and Joy have had a breakthrough and they're okay now, it seems.
Well, the real breakthrough will come.
Yeah.
Later. But then we go back to Happy Time. They have to split up to type these things because, you know, it takes 2 people to type into a spreadsheet.
Right.
Which, granted, having someone read it to you while you type it is faster than reading it, but 5 people typing would still be faster than 3 people typing, even if 2 of them have help.
Right.
So that was a thing. But Daisy and Mason get put together again, and Mason is still trying so hard to get Daisy to love him.
Daisy says my favorite line this episode that she said.
Really?
She's talking about her conquests, and she's like, there was this one guy who shall remain Bing Crosby. And I thought she was going to say who shall remain not named. And she said Bing Crosby. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
I lost it.
But then in that little speech where she's going on about all her lovers, I was like, ugh, Daisy, stop being the worst again. We liked you. Don't ruin it.
I think I still feel sympathy for her, so I didn't hate her.
Well, no, I don't hate her either because of the rest of the episode. But in that moment, I was like, you are on thin ice, young lady.
But to be fair, like Mason was getting annoying. Like if Mason was doing that to me, I would have been annoyed. And so I would have just started saying random things.
See, if Mason was doing that to me, I'd already be blowing him in the like supply closet. So
okay, well, that's different. So that's why you don't agree with Daisy. It's very rare of me to agree with Daisy, but when you start annoying me, I start being crazy.
Then we see Roxy is partnered with Rube, who apparently, fun fact, the reason he didn't want to type these things is because the man can't type.
Very much cannot type. God bless him.
Oh, yeah. Poor thing. Like, he's got like 3-word answers and he's not, or 3-letter answers. He can't type yes and no.
Yeah.
We get another actual flashback to George at camp with her parents, and her mom is reading out in the living room while George is in bed sleeping. Oh, we missed a scene where they put her to bed.
Yes.
She said they put her to bed, and she said that the baby was useless because it couldn't do anything, and she wanted someone to play with. But then she left the door open so that her mom and dad, she could hear them talking while she fell asleep, which is really the saddest thing of the entire episode, to be clear, because could you imagine wanting to listen to Joy and Clancy now?
Oh my gosh, no.
So she goes out and she's sitting with her mom who's reading a book, and she's like, I want to keep all the books because they make you happy.
I know, I was like, that's the sweetest thing. Baby George.
And then, like, her dad's like, who's happy? And she's like, we all are. And then he's happy. And it made me so sad and angry.
I know, because they were such a happy family one time.
But, like, the thing is, George dying isn't even what broke their family. It's just what made them stop pretending they were broken. Or they weren't broken. And that's so heartbreaking.
Yeah. It's just like no one cared enough anymore to try to keep up a facade.
So then we go back to the office. There's some weird noises in the Happy Time office. They find out that the Gravelings are hanging out at the office with them, just fucking around. Mm-hmm. And then people are still doing their work. They're still typing. And we have a roadblock in our way. And that is that for some reason at 2:00 in the morning, Crystal is sitting at her desk.
But Crystal's such a weirdo.
Well, and then it gets worse because they go to Rube and they're like, Rube, we have a problem. And he was like, is it Gravelings? And they're like, no, weirder.
Yeah.
And I was like, Crystal is in fact weirder than Gravelings.
She is. I'm liking her though, more and more.
Me too. I like her a lot in this episode. So then we go back. They recruit Crystal to help them with the typing because she is fast typer, which, you know, she's a receptionist. So even if she's not the best receptionist in the world, she's better at typing than any of the 5 of them.
Oh, true. Absolutely.
So then Daisy and Mason are back to their reading of their things and their inputting. And Daisy is struggling emotionally. Yeah. They have been tasked with the pile of people whose last thoughts are about, like, love regrets. And Daisy is starting to have a little bit of a breakdown.
Yeah.
Then we go to Rube and George. And Rube's like, and George is like, but why? Like, why are we doing this? Who is it for? And he's like, for the people who want to read it. And she's like, not the fucking point, my dude.
Right.
But, like, then he has this really, like, deep philosophical thing about how we all know people's last words, but wouldn't it be interesting to really know their last thoughts? And it's really nice, but it is just him playing hopscotch around trying to talk about his boss and give us any information about how Reapers work.
Right.
Then we get another flashback to George and her parents roasting marshmallows at the cabin, and this was slightly confusing to me because Reggie, the baby, was not there. And they were outside roasting marshmallows, and I understand that babies like sleep, but like you don't leave the baby unattended in the house while you were outside roasting marshmallows.
Maybe they had like a baby monitor.
Maybe.
And it was like right outside the house.
Yeah. But they George is talking about how they want to stay there forever, and they're like talking about all these ways that they could make that work. And it's like, it was sad because it wasn't really about the family being happy. It was about the idea that like you can't live on vacation.
I know.
And like,
and if you did, it wouldn't feel like vacation anymore after a while.
right. Like when I lived at Disney, people used to ask, when I worked at Disney, people would ask all the time, like, do you just spend every waking hour in the park? And like, there were times when I would go to the park and I had fun and I did like vacation things.
Yeah.
But you don't do that every day. Like you don't work 12 hours and then say, okay, I'm going to go back there. Like vacation isn't as magical anymore when you live there.
Right.
So that made me sad.
I know, it is sad.
Then we go back to Daisy and Mason. And Daisy is like, how about after we're finished with this, you come over to my place for a drink? And he says, are you fucking with me? She goes, probably not. But let's have a drink. And he looks like the happiest little boy in the world. His dreams are coming true. Then we go to the best scene of the entire episode. Roxy is now partnered with Crystal for typing.
Yeah.
And she is just talking straight nonsense about this guy that she was living with, but he had another girlfriend, and the other girlfriend was like, we could share him. And she was like, I don't want to share him. So I moved out. She's like, you know what I'm saying? And Crystal's like, Yeah. I was like, I cannot.
I love this friendship. I was like, of course Roxy and Crystal are friends.
Right. Then Daisy tells Mason she has to leave for a second because she has broken. She cannot do it anymore. And she goes to the copy room where George is in there and has a full-on breakdown and is like, maybe life is all just temporary. Like maybe we're all temps and we're just floating from one job to the next.
That was so sad.
Whew.
That's such a depressing way to think about life.
It is. Maybe
it's not like super inaccurate, but like still.
Yeah. Right. Then we go back to the cabin where Reggie's just sitting on the bed with JD while her parents scream at each other.
It's so sad for her.
So sad. At some point, I don't know if I passed it, in one of the flashbacks, we have George is fishing on the dock and Reggie comes over to sit with her and Reggie's like, Dad, let me play with this pocket knife, which fancy, what the fuck?
Right.
But George is like, I'll trade you the fishing rod for the pocket knife. And so she does, and then George carves something in the dock. Also, in one of the flashbacks, the reason George giving her the fishing rod is so important, even though it's not really that important, is because in the vacation life flashback, she said that if they lived on vacation, she would teach Reggie how to fish and teach her everything she needed to know about living in the cabin.
It was so sweet.
So then we were back at Happy Time one last time, and Mason is going through the paperwork stack, and he finds the paper that says Daisy Adair died of asphyxiation on the 13th of the 13th of December, 1938, in Marietta, Georgia.
I just put a sad face.
And we see that he sees what her last thoughts were, but we don't see quite yet what it is. Before we see what it is, we see Mason telling Daisy that he thinks that he's going to rain check on the drink date, and he walks her out and he gives her coat, and he's being a super gentleman. Now, the thing is, I knew what Daisy's last thoughts were from having seen the show already.
I did not.
I knew what her last thoughts were, and I was like, oh, Mason does the right thing. So then after
when I saw him do that, I was like, what on earth were her last words? I was like, they're going to be so sad.
Well, because we know what pile he was working on. Yeah. And we saw her reaction to it. And then we saw his reaction to knowing what she did. So even if you didn't know, you were like, what? But Daisy's last thoughts were, why has no one ever loved me?
I almost started crying. It was so sad. I love Daisy.
In that moment, seeing that, Mason makes a decision to stop trying to bone her and care about her as a person instead.
He is so sweet.
Because he is an angel.
He is actually a decent undead person. Even if he acts like he's not.
So for another Sunday episode in a row, we're just sobbing about Mason. It's
because why not? What else do we have to do?
And then George goes to thank Crystal for her help and make sure that she knows that it is not to be reported to Dolores that they were there. And Crystal's like, no, of course. Like, I'm not saying anything. I really like your friend Roxy.
Crystal is super chill. I was like,
yeah, it's like the first time we've ever heard Crystal speak, and she's like a totally normal person.
And she just spent like hours like documenting people's last thoughts, and now she's just like, this is fine, everything's great, goodbye, I like Roxy. I was like, are you not traumatized? Has this not affected you in any way, Crystal?
No.
The psychopath?
Our Reapers do a lot of openly talking about the fact that they are dead in front of people who should not know that they are dead.
That is very true. It's very true.
So then we go back to the last cabin where Reggie is sitting on the dock fishing, and Joy comes out to see her and is like, are you okay? And she says, no, are you? And Joy also says no. And then they talk about the fact that they miss George, and Reggie asks if they can go somewhere else next year so that they're not just completely surrounded by their memories. And it is
so sad.
So sad.
It is.
And then George borrows Rube's truck and drives up to the cabin and just sits there. Which is weird because if this is all happening the same day, her family's there, and I'm so confused.
Right. Yeah. Who knows?
But yeah. That is our episode. Once again, making us feel more things than I thought the show was supposed to do.
Right. And they talk about maybe life is the vacation, and then you go into being a reaper, So my question is, if you knew life was the vacation, what would your last thoughts be? Like if you knew that like your vacation was ending.
Here's the thing. I don't know. Because I don't know how I'm gonna die. Like, think about like they have some people whose last thoughts were like really existential, but then like
Yeah.
Rube and Roxy were working on the mid-ocean death file where people were just like talking about water.
I thought that was seaweed. It's okay,
Yeah.
it's seaweed. That's what they said.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I mean, like I hope my last thoughts are something about seeing Jesus, but like I don't know.
I've been listening to a lot of Keep It Weird Patreon episodes, and one of their sisters is a hospice worker. And so she's talked about like a lot of people's last thoughts. I was like, man, I just really hope mine's like I live a long life, and at the end I'm like at peace when I go, and I can just be like, all right, this is it. It's time now. Like I want that to be like my last thought. So
We don't have any trivia for this episode. We do have some goops though. One
Okay.
is that once again, people are still debating whether or not it's possible for Daisy to have died when she says she died.
Fair.
So the other trivia that we had, or not trivia, but goofs, were one is Daisy is shown several times typing on a keyboard, but it is very obvious that nothing she's typing is words. When the Reapers are inputting the data, they are only typing the final thought, but then every time we look at the spreadsheets on the computer, the name and the date and the location are all there also.
Yeah.
And then in the copy room, when George is talking to Daisy in the voiceover, she said that it's 3 a.m., but then on the wall, the clock on the wall behind Crystal says 12:35.
Okay, but here's the thing. In my office, the clock on my wall is like 5 hours off.
So the clock on the wall of my classroom said 8:40 for a month and a half straight. And then they came and fixed my clock. And then 3 days later, it froze again. So now it says 12:08 or 10:08, but it has said 10:08 for a month now.
Right. So that just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
It very well could have been the time she said it was, and the clock was just not right.
Yeah. So who would you like to punch this episode?
Oh yeah.
Honestly, there's only one acceptable answer, really.
Clancy.
Yeah. There's literally no one else. No one else in this episode.
Right. Who's your MVP?
My MVP is Mason.
Yeah.
It was almost Joy for finally admitting she wasn't okay. But like Mason trying to love Daisy.
Mine was almost Daisy because I feel so bad for her. But Mason just pulled the heartstrings.
Yeah. So if Mason pulled your heartstrings or your pants strings, you can you can send us a message on any of the social medias at Death and Aliens.
You can also send us a message for other reasons, not related to Mason.
Please do. Not related to Mason's sexual appeal. You can follow me at EMKAY_superstar.
You can follow me at CECloud13.
And we will talk to you guys on Wednesday for the season 1 finale of Dead Like Me.
See ya.
Bye.